For 10 years, Geometry Dash has been known to be a music-synced rhythm game, and slowly over the past 10 years, the game has evolved tremendously, introducing new game modes, new mechanics to the core gameplay. However, in December 2023, RobTop has totally added a new game mechanic to Geometry Dash called Platformer Mode, where instead of continuously going in one direction and making it a rhythm game, Platformer Mode is basically where you use the A and D keys or the left and right up arrows or whatever interface you use on mobile to move around in a 2D plane. However, Platformer Mode did pretty good at the start of Update 2.2, but now nobody has really been playing many platformer levels, or not many popular platformer levels have popped up very recently. And today I'm going to be covering some reasons why that might be the case, and also some things upcoming that RobTop has announced in a 2.2 update. Number 1, it's not what people play Geometry Dash for. For anybody that has recently installed Geometry Dash on Steam or whatever apps or device supports Geometry Dash, if you ever ask them, why did you decide to download this game, they'll most likely say for playing the main levels. However, after you beat all the main levels, you have the tower left, which consists of 4 platformer levels made by RobTop himself. However, after that, people don't seem to really want to go for like other custom platformer levels that the community has made. I mean, sure, occasionally like people will check out easy platformer levels that you can like beat very quickly and take no time at all. But the main reason people install Geometry Dash in the first place is because of the rhythm and pace that Geometry Dash is famous for. Reason number 2, they're too long and time consuming. Any platformer level that you download, it'll actually say the duration of the platformer level. That's not the average amount of time it takes to actually go through the entire level. That is the fastest time possible that you can actually beat that level in, which in my opinion is not specific enough as to how long it's expected for this level to take. Unless you're like an extreme professional platformer, the time duration of platformer levels is very deceiving, because if you ever play like a level like Throat of the World or How to Platformer or Dawn, that those levels take an extreme amount of time, and not everybody in the world has that amount of time. People have jobs, people have like other things to do, and it's just not really worth the people's time, unfortunately. Which then goes on to my third reason: you can't save your progress. And what I mean by this is, you'll probably see this in like the main platformer levels. After you make a little bit of progress into the level, you'll see a green checkpoint. Once you've set that checkpoint and you die, that's your respawn point. However, it does not save if you exit out of the level. Once you exit out of the level, your entire session that you did is gone, and you have to go all the way back through the beginning in order to arrive where you left off. It's really frustrating that you have to do entire extreme demon platformers in one session. Sure, practice mode does exist. However, in my opinion, it's not very practical to use practice mode in platformer levels. Even if you do practice mode, you still have to start all the way back at the beginning. And if the level that you want to do ends up taking much longer than you anticipated, and you gotta go eat dinner or go to bed, then like you just wasted like a lot of time trying to get to where you wanted to get to, but it just didn't end up mattering in the end, unfortunately. Which just makes the nature of platformer levels like really frustrating even for me, because I like platformer levels, but not being able to save your progress midway through a level and then going back to where you left off the next day is just really frustrating. And also, the fourth and final reason is GD content creators heavily influence the community. If you go watch like any like GD content creators like EVW or Nepesta or like any of the other guys, like eventually they stopped wavering from that. Like, I mean, sure, they'll play like the mythic platformer levels that popped out, some of them anyway, but eventually they started focusing on trying to improve their skills at the game with the familiar rhythm-based gameplay that we're all used to. And as a result, a lot of people will tend to like waver with the GD YouTubers, and any GD YouTubers or streamers that end up doing like platformer mode, that kind of thing doesn't do well on YouTube for whatever reason, or streaming for that matter, unless it's like a trending platformer level, which, let's be honest, that rarely ever happens. So you may be thinking, what is the solution to this? Is the platformer mode neglected so much that's eventually going to be forgotten? Well, not entirely, because RobTop has announced something that is coming for platformer levels that'll make them much more beneficial and easier to do, which I'm really excited for. And also, there is one feature in the settings where you have like the gauntlets in the event level called the map, which is basically, from what I've heard, going to be like the gauntlets but with platformer levels, which I think will definitely interest some people once that is available for people to check out. But before I wrap up this video, I want to ask you guys, what are your guys' opinions, or what are your thoughts on my opinions about platformer levels and the facts that I have spoken to you guys? But anyways, that is going to be a wrap up for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, helps me out a lot. Consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.